Okay, so today, and for the first class after the break as well, we will finish this today. Talk about the factorial analysis of variance. Okay, so let's pretend that I was doing an experiment. Because sometimes I do that. Not pretend, actually do. And, I don't know, I'm doing a memory experiment, and I'm going to collect some data on the effect of retention interval on memory. This isn't somebody's honors thesis. This has been done at Ebbinghaus. So you can, this is old. So after 5 minutes, list the words, 90% correct. That's probably not far off, actually. 1 hour, 70%, 24 hours, 60%. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Could be, at least it's reasonable, it'd be decay. Okay. So there's an experiment. That's a pretty interesting-ish experiment. In fact, it's the kind of thing you would do in a demonstration thing like in a lab class. So you do analysis of variance and include the retention interval affects memory. So these would be averages. Eh? So I don't know how many subjects in each cell there, each group, but whatever, doesn't matter. You conclude that retention interval Ri affects memory. Yeah. Okay. So then you do another experiment, but levels of processing. Some of you guys are in my memory class, but if you're not, levels of processing, it's Craig and Lockhart. It's this idea that the more deeply you process something, the better you remember it, and deeper usually equates to semantic processing. So thinking about the meaning of a word, so you have people rate the meaning, have a pleasantness of the meaning of the word, 1 to 7, or count the number of ascending and descending letters in the word. So the word levels here has 2 ascenders, but 2 L's. So you look at that and you go 2. Or you look at you think of the meaning of the word levels, and you think of, for deeper processing, you think of, how pleasant is that? I don't know how pleasant the word level could be. Maybe you give that a 4, because it's kind of neutral. But you have to think about the meaning. And you get a medium level, usually that's the acoustic. What does it sound like? So you want to say how many syllables are there. Level, it's at 2. So you're always giving it a number, but sometimes it's shallow, sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's somewhere in the middle. Okay, questions? You understand the idea, right? And again, you conclude that levels of processing affects memory, which again is not really earth-shattering. This would not be surprising. Indeed, it would be surprising if you didn't find this. Okay. You can ask yourself a question, and that question you would ask yourself is, what level of retention interval should I have done my levels of processing experiment at? I don't know. What levels of processing should I do my retention interval at? What retention interval should I do my levels of processing experiment at? I don't know the answer to either of those questions. There, in fact, really isn't a right answer to that question. Right? And I know you all know where this is going because you've all taken 2127. You all know that what we're going to do is combine the 2 experiments. Right? So we're going to get 9 groups instead of 2 experiments of 3 groups. The G is just for group. So group 1 down to group 9. 5 minutes, 1 hour, 24 hours. Low, medium, and high levels of processing. So like you've got, say, group 6 here has a 24-hour retention interval and did medium. And medium was how many syllables are there? Low and low, which is just counting the number of ascending and descending letters, and 5 minutes. That's group 1. Group 7 is 5 minutes, but think about the meaning of the word, so rate the pleasantness of the word. And these are all separate groups. These are independent groups. Different people in different groups. Okay? And each level of each variable or each factor is crossed with, basically, each level of each other factor. So they occur with each other equally often. Okay? You're good? Yeah, you know what it is. See, so now this just becomes a little bit, when you think about the analysis of variance angle here, it becomes just a little more complicated. Not a lot. So we can still use our old friend, the structural model of analysis of variance. It just gets a little more complicated because we're going to have two variables in here. Right? It's some nice effects. You like that? So, my son thought I should put some effects in when I was playing this last time. So these are all going to be very fun. X equals mu plus alpha beta plus epsilon. Oh, I know it's alpha and beta don't mean type 1 and type 2 error now. They mean effective factor A and effective factor B. Okay? I know that's annoying. It is not my fault. Don't blame me. So, any score, this is the only slide that does this, I promise, equals the grand mean. You've seen that before. Plus the effective factor A. Now, A might be retention or it might be levels of processing. I don't care which one, but it's one of them. I think this one coming up here is my favorite. Fireworks. The effective factor B, we're thinking about them separately. And then the interaction of A and B. How A and B act together. Or how they interact. And finally, error. That's the stuff that's left over. Remember, our old model was this, just for the single analysis of variance. Right? X equals mu plus tau plus epsilon. And now it's X equals, there's the mu plus alpha plus beta plus alpha beta plus epsilon. So what we've done, this is still here. So that's not changed a whole lot. We've actually broken down, we've got single variable effects, just have two of them. We've made the error smaller. This variance here, this extra stuff here, it's come out of error. Okay, so we're going to get a smaller error term. Really. That's what's going to happen. If we had an experiment exactly the same size, except we had only 3 levels. So X equals mu plus alpha plus beta plus epsilon. So does the model make sense? You're okay with that, right? It's no big deal. As long if you understood the model X equals mu plus tau plus epsilon, this model is no different really. We've just split that error thing up a little bit more. That's all we've done. That's all we've done. We've explained more variance. Okay. So let's think about this maybe a little more deeply. So we're not only going to look at the effective A and the effective B, which is exactly what we did before, except we just looked at the effective A or the effective B. We didn't do them both at the same time. We're going to look at how A and B act together, or how they interact. It's sort of a whole is more than the sum of its parts kind of thing. Gestalt, if you will. It's the effect of one variable changes depending upon the level of some second variable. That's the definition of what's called a two-way interaction. The effect of one variable changes depending upon the level of some second variable. So there's an additive part, that's alpha plus beta. But there's also something that's over and above the additive bit. Think of it sort of concretely this way. This is a somewhat depressing example, but I think it makes some sense. Men make more money than women for the same work. I didn't say I liked it, I said it's the way it is. I didn't say we should fix it, I said it's the way it is. Say it's not getting better. It's still the way it is. white people make more money than non-white people in Canada. I don't like that either. So it's harder being a visible minority than it is being a white person for your income on average. It's harder being a woman than it is being a man on average for your income. It's way harder, and then there's some extra level of thing being a visible minority woman that's even harder. See, like I said, it's a depressing thing. Unless you're me, it's just fine. It's a joke, I don't think it's fine. I'm noting that I'm the only white man in the room. I'm the only man in the room. Wow, all the guys are here. This is weird. Apparently I suddenly teach in an all-women's school. Some weird little liberal American arts college. Or American liberal arts college, rather. Suddenly I'm at Vassar. Someone got the Vassar reference. So, do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's times when there's some extra added thing in there. Okay? I know it's a depressing example, but I think we can all get, I think it's a good example too, unfortunately. All right. So it's something over and above the additive effect of just A and B. So it's like that. Look. At A1, B2 is a little bit bigger than B1. But at A2, B2 is a lot bigger than B1. The effect of B changes depending upon the level of A. The effect of one variable changes depending upon the level of some second variable. The difference between B1 and B2 is smaller at A2 than it is, I should say, at A1. Or at A1 than it is at A2, rather, not A2 than at A2. And I went through all these slides yesterday looking for typos, and I still didn't find that. The effect of B changes depending upon the level of A. That's all that says. That's all an interaction is, a two-way interaction. They can get more complicated than that, and they eventually will. We will talk about n-way interactions, 3 and 4, whatever way interactions, but the important one right now, get this makes sense in your head, you're fine. So this is an important place for me to ask you, ladies, it's very strange, it's a very weird experience. Any of you women, I was going to say guys, and I think you all know I'm using it in a gender non-specific way, but I'm just going to say women, have any questions? Does this make sense so far? I know you've gone into the interactions before, ad nauseum, ad infinitum with Cheryl, right? 2127. Yeah, lots of that, right? She spends a lot of time showing you graphs going interaction, no interaction here. I've never sat and watching Cheryl teach. I don't think she's just doing that stuff. But I know you talked a lot about that in that class, unless they totally changed the way it. Yeah. Okay. I haven't taught that class since 1997, and I'm very happy that I haven't, because it is so boring. It's the classic example of stuff you should know and kind of have to know, and it's just, oh dear God, why am I learning this at the same time?
So
no, that's what the class is. I hate that class. I would fight tooth and nail if someone said we had to get rid of it. Right? I would go, no, we need it. But I think I fell asleep once lecturing in that class. That's how boring that material is. It's like this, it's a threat to external validity. Oh, God. It's boring. It's necessarily boring. Questions?
In your example, so you're saying that A is like gender and B is race?
Could be. Yeah, you could use it that way if you want to use it that way. Yeah, if you want to go back to the example, sure. The neat thing is, this graph shows you that the effect of B is bigger at A2 than it is at A1, but if we flip this around and put B on the x-axis and had the two lines being A, you'd still see an interaction. the effect of B depends upon the level of A. It's also true the effect of A depends upon the level of B. There's no right way to graph these things. It's the way that tells you the story the best. When you ever have to draw a graph for a paper you're writing, for a project you're doing, do the graph a couple of different ways and show it to people and ask them what it means. That's always what I do. Always.
So is this basically like independent variables, but they can also be swapped?
These are both A and B are independent variables.
Okay.
There's two of them. This is the dependent variable on the y-axis. They can be swapped around. So you could put B on the x-axis here and have these two lines be A.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Other questions? This is good. Okay, so we're good so far. So remember, x equals mu plus alpha beta plus epsilon. You'll be able to say that quickly. It'll roll off your tongue like that in a couple of weeks. You can even do complicated, which we eventually will do. It's pretty straightforward. X equals mu plus alpha plus beta plus epsilon. Okay, the model has some assumptions, and they're really basically the same, pretty much the same assumptions we had before. The sum of the alpha i's, there are I is an index, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, up to the number of levels of alpha, which is going to be A. We're going to call A, or A levels. So, the sum of those has to equal 0. This is also true, by the way, for our old friend structure model of the one-way analysis of variance, that the sum of the taus equals 0. In fact, I believe I had that written out. So the sum of the beta j's, j again, which is an index, is also 0. So if we have two groups, level A1, and let's say it's too bad you have 11, I can't divide that up easily. But this is a group, this is a group, this is a group, this is a group. This is A1, A2, B1, B2, B1, B2. Okay, so this is all A1. So being at A1 increases your score by 2, what happens to the group that gets A2? Your score gets increased by 2. The model rules do that. If being in this group, getting this treatment, level 1, I think that this is A1, get 1 of A1 of A, increases your score by 2. What does level A2 do if there's only two groups?
Decreases by 2.
Exactly. B1, B2. So the same thing happens with the Bs. So if being in B1, that's this part of the room here, increases your score by 3, what does being doing B2 do? Decreases your score by 3. Okay. So far with the alphas and the betas, the A effects and the B effects, I can actually figure out what your score is. Increase your score by 2, decrease your score by 3, whatever. I can just add those up because the model says it's all added. This is the different part. The sum of the alpha I beta j's equals 0. That's where it's weird. Because before, with T1 and T2, let's say, it was just two levels of treatment, right? That's fine. And one increases the score by 5, one decreases it by 5. And A1 and B1 and A2 and B2, that was pretty easy again. But what this is saying is there are separate effects for each cell. This is A1 B1. This is A1 B2. A2 B1. A2 B2. Which was the worst Star Wars robot in the So we got A1, A2, B1, B2. So there are individual effects for each cell, and those are the interaction effects. And the simplest way to do this is just say plus 1 minus 1 minus 1 plus 1. The model actually, the math calculates. I'm just making them up. All I'm doing is make them up. So notice that these all sum to 0, first of all. Just like Well, it says they got to sum to 0. It actually says that, so they must. The other thing is they don't just sum to 0 when you add them all up. They have to sum to 0 vertically and horizontally. So like that and like that. What's that?
It's like zero.
Yeah. It's like so. Someone almost invariably someone says that. That's good. And if someone doesn't, I try to remember what Sudoku is, so I have to remember the word. Usually leads to a whole bit about me saying about how you guys know the name of Japanese number puzzles, but have never read Shakespeare. How they don't teach anything in high school anymore. That's the whole thing that I do. It's a running theme that I teach and all, that I don't think they teach anyone anything in high school anymore. I think you get a B+ for showing up. Right? That's true, isn't it? That's the system down in Ontario. You show up, you get a B+. If your parents complain, you get an A. So it's not quite that bad. But I have friends who teach high school, and they tell me it's close. Okay. One more assumption from the model. The error is normally distributed around the scores. They're independent of each other with a mean of 0 and a variance of sigma squared. Okay. So that's the individual difference component. So we know that, Samantha is in A1, B2, but then there's a level for being you. And it's going to increase your score by 1, let's say. So it's going to decrease your score by 1, because I'm pretending you're the same. Because it has to sum to 0 in the group, not outside the group. This is a poor design, because I got 2 people here, and then 4, and it's an awful design. We're going to pretend the same never be equally true. They're normal and independent, though, so if we were to graph all of them out, they're beautiful. Nice normal distribution. Okay. Questions?
Can you just re-explain the last point?
What? The normal and independent.
Yeah,
So,
sorry.
no, it's okay. Normal just means that if we took the distribution of all of the individual difference scores, they'd be a nice normal distribution.
Okay.
And independent means they're independent events from each other. The math will actually make them sum to 0, but they're independent events of each other. Okay. And then the variance, well, the mean 0, the variance, we don't know what it is, but we can give it a name. So we're going to call it sigma squared. We could have called it Steve, but instead we call it sigma squared. Because it would be weird if it was called Steve. So we don't know the number, but it's a parameter. It's something that that theoretically one could know if one knew everything. I don't know why I said that so dramatically. I can't wait for this break thing to start. So excited.
Same.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've literally, since the first week of school, like of this term, I don't know, 13 weeks, 12 weeks, like until it's over. Because I was on sabbatical and I didn't teach for a year, and I liked that a lot. Yeah, there's a pay cut, 10% pay cut when you're on sabbatical. But it was worth it. When you're like, I said, I don't think I'll do that today. No one can make me do anything right now. The greatest thing in the world was getting emails and just going, delete. Oh, from the president, delete. Who wants to delete? Because they can't make you do it. It's great. This gig is a really good gig if you can get there. We talked about graduate school the other day. If you become an academic, the first while is awful. Like, it's really hard. And also, when you're the new person, they make you teach stuff that you really don't know anything about. You have you're about 10 minutes ahead of the class in your knowledge. You're always standing there going, ugh. If you're lucky, you're good at stats, you get to teach stats. By the way, that's a skill that is very marketable as an academic. You know, I like to teach statistics. Because no one likes this stuff. Well, I do, but I'm rare. By rare, I mean odd. Yes, you get all the horrible courses you don't like. And it gets pretty good. Anyway, I can't wait for the break. Questions?
Okay, so on that final point, we talked
Yeah.
So, could we just, I don't know.
Say it was 1?
Yeah,
But no, we can't, because we don't know what it's going to be.
okay.
I don't know when I randomly sample from a group of people. I don't know what people I'm going to get, so I can't give it a number. I can assign a value. I can assign the mean 0. That's easy. You'll see in a second why that happens. Well, actually, I can explain it to you by looking at this maybe. If I take that out, if I take the grand mean out, I've taken out the average score. What happens when I take the average away? What happens when I take constant away from the constant same size as the mean from a variable? So if I say, if my variable is x, and I do, remember what happens, the expected value of x plus k equals x bar plus k, yes? Mm-hmm. We're going to actually, instead though, we're going to subtract the mean. So now what's the expected value, because I just did that. I put my hand over top of the mean. That's subtracting it. So now we got the expected value of x minus x. What is it?
0.
0. Okay. That's easy. I can do that. In fact, the math does this. On the other hand, the variance of x, well, it's just a variance, right? So even if I add a constant, or in this case, subtract x, I still get that as my variance. Yeah. Very good question. And I've literally never thought about it that way until right now, so that was public service, you said. Thank you. Okay. Still trying to figure out why there's fun dip up in front of the class. For those of you wondering why we're laughing.
Valentine.
There you are.
Let's eat it.
No. No. The kids still take Kool-Aid to school and eat it out of the...
No, that's what Fun Dip's for.
See? We invented just taking Kool-Aid, stealing Kool-Aid from the cupboard. We took that. There was always the weird kid that had shake and bake or something with it. He was eating that. Dude, no, there was one kid, he was a little chunky, a little bit of a heavy kid. I'm not saying anything bad. About grade 2, we would all take the Kool-Aid and he shows up and he's eating shake and bake. Actually, it's probably delicious. He's going for a savory route rather than sweet, and I appreciate that. But, and then one kid decided he's going to bring a bag of Nestle's Quick to school and just eat that. Oh, yeah. It's early 70s. It was wonderful. My dad would send his 5-year-old legally blind son on his bike to ride to the corner store 2 miles away to buy him cigarettes. It was great. Here's a $1 bill, David. Keep the change. And I have enough change that I could buy a Coke, a chocolate bar, because chocolate bars were a dime. I'm serious. And chips were 10 cents or 25 cents. So it was the big bag was 25, the little bag was 10. And Coke was a dime. I sound like an old man. When I was young, giant onion to our belt. It was a style at the time. Simpsons reference? Okay. Assumptions that come out of F, because we're going to use the F to test it, yes? Homogeneity variance, of course. That's always going to be there. Random samples? Yeah, right, sure. We can violate this a little bit, homogeneity variance. It's pretty robust. Random samples, we can violate all the hell. We do it all the time. And in fact, what are called Monte Carlo simulations, which are basically simulations. Running thousands and thousands and thousands of simulations. And doing with non-random samples, and it works fine. So we don't have to worry about the random sampling too much. Normal populations, we can violate the hell out of that. Doesn't matter, because we're dealing with samples anyway. But technically, we're not supposed to have things that aren't normal. But you can violate this to the point, I read a paper, violating it using a binary population, 0s and 1s, and it's the word. So you can violate that. And for some reason I don't have it on here, I don't know why I wouldn't, but independent observations. Yeah, I forgot to type that on there. So independent observations. If I know one person's score, I can't do anything with the other person's score. It doesn't, I know you're thinking, wait a second, you just said I can take the A effect, the B effect, the A-B effect, and the individual effect and add them up. Yeah, that's true. That's after I've collected all the data, I can do that. So after I've collected the data, I can go, for Samantha, I can say A1, B2, A1, B2 plus Samantha equals her score. I can do that, but I can't have done it. I broke that down after I collected the data. Okay? But just because I know a score doesn't mean I know anybody else's score. They're not dependent on each other, independent of us. Okay? And I realize it's a somewhat subtle point. So, does anybody have any questions? All right. So let me show you how this works. Here's a little numerical example. These are meant to be means. So these are cell means. I don't know how many subjects are in each group. I don't care how many subjects are in each group. Don't care. Don't know what A is, don't know what B is. A is a factor with 2 levels, and B is a factor with 2 levels. So we see here A1, B1 is 9, A1, B2 is 3, A2, B1 is 7, A2, B2 is 1. Okay. So what we want to do is try to break this down into its constituent parts. We're going to break this down into its constituent parts. We're going to see if we can find out those A effects, B effects, and AB effects. We're not going to deal with the error effects. For this, we're going to ignore that because I don't have the individual scores. I could do it if I did individual scores. It just makes this thing messy, and it doesn't teach you anything. So we're going to do exactly what I did when I put my hand over the grand mean, except we're actually going to do it with arithmetic. The first thing, we're going to remember that x equals mu plus alpha plus beta plus epsilon. We can ignore the epsilon because we don't have that information here, but we have everything else. We can figure out what the rest of these are. So let's take out the grand mean first. In other words, put my hand over top, remove it. Well, the grand mean is pretty easy to calculate. 9 and 7 is 16, 3 is 19, 1 is 20. We have some scores, we get 20. We divide by 4 because we have 4 observations here. The grand mean's 5. Right? 9 and 7 and 3 and 1 divided by 4 equals 20 divided by 4 equals 5. So now what we'll do is we'll try to take out the grand mean. That can't be that hard. So we're going to subtract 5 from each cell. Okay? You with me so far? We've done some pluses. Now we're going to do some takeaways. That's how simple this is. Okay? So don't ever blame the arithmetic or the math. It's the logic of it that's hard to understand sometimes. Just don't be blaming the math. So we're going to just take it out. So now we can just see, instead of deviations from 5, we're going to see deviations from 0. We're going to see those on their own, the alphas, the alpha effects, the betas, and the alpha betas. But again, any questions? Okay. I just took 5 out of each cell. 9 minus 5 is 4. 7 minus 5 is 2. Right? And so on. Try this fun dip. I've had this since I was 5.
It was invented then?
Jesus. Yeah, we had also, I would ride my dinosaur to Deckers. That's atrocious. Oh, God. Holy shit, that's awful. And I don't dislike things because I like McDonald's. I like all kinds of food. I like all kinds of candy. That's horrible. Oh, jeez. We had a gum when I was a kid called Big League Chew. It looked like chewing tobacco. We also had Kent cigarettes. It's a different time. It's crazy. Okay, now what we're going to do, you notice I have another column here called summed. I'm just summing across A. So I'm going to find the effect of B. So we've removed the grand mean. Notice what happens when we've removed the grand mean. Oh, it sums to 0 now. The whole table must sum to 0 because we took out the average score. Like the thing that Samantha said, what happens, we got right up here, we took x minus x. We took out the average score. From all the scores, we end up with nothing, 0. And that's what we get when we sum all this. 4 and 2 is 6, minus 2 is 4, minus 4 is nothing. So now, we're going to see if we can find the effects of A and B. So if we sum across A to get the B effects, B1 is 6 divided by 2 because we want to find the average effect of B in B1. And B2 is minus 3. So it's 6 and minus 6.
Why divide by 2?
Because there's 2 observations.
Oh.
The candy stick itself, while bland, is not disgusting. The powder, it's not that good either though. Kind of tastes like, you know royal icing, you know what that is? Used for glue when you make like a candy house.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes like that stuff when it gets really hard. It's really not very good. It's a poor piece of candy. Poor kids. All right, 6, negative 6, so 3, negative 3. What we're going to do now is we're going to take 3 out of all the B1s. We're going to take negative 3 out of all the B2s. Subtracting a negative, negative 2 minus negative 3 is 1. If you've forgotten how to do subtracting negatives, remember that? One of those things you learn in grade 6 and you thought to yourself, I'll never ever use that. You are now. So, take 3 and negative 3 out. So you have 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1. Still all sums to 0 because the grand mean's gone. Okay. Now we're going to sum across the B's. Or sometimes you'll hear me say collapse across the B's. And you'll get, so it's 2 and negative 2, so 1 and negative 1. I decided not to tell you that 1 and 1 was 2. Because I thought you knew that. So I didn't write it out. Okay. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, negative 2 divided by 2 is 1. Negative 1. So we're going to take out 1 from all these and negative 1 from all these. You with me so far? You're still good? This really should go away. No one should ever have to do this. My son had some the other day too. Like 2 days ago. I wonder what he had. It's viral marketing by FunBet. Maybe that's what it is. They're going after me, right after me, nobody else. Because of my online influence. Yeah. Now we're going to take out the 1s and take out negative 1. You're going to see what we have left. Absolutely nothing. Right? Because if I take 1 out of all the A1s and negative 1 from all the A2s, I've got a bunch of zeros left. Oh, look, I got nothing. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You've got to have something. It's a Billy Preston book from 1971 for us all. Okay. There's nothing, no interaction. Because if there was interaction, there'd be still something left here. Because we've taken out the grand, we've taken out A, we've taken out B, there'd be A, B left. There isn't. There's no interaction. And in fact, I'll show that in a second. So before I ask that, or say that, do you have any questions? Is this making sense? Bree, you okay? You got it? You good? Okay. Everybody's good? Well, you graph it. Oh, look, there's no interaction. Actually, if I was doing this myself, I would graph it first, usually, just to see, just to remind myself, because I can look at this and go, yeah, is there an effect of B? Well, B1's bigger than B2. Is there an effect of A? Yeah, A2's smaller than A1. Is there an interaction? Well, it looks like the effect size between like the difference between B1 and B2 is the same at A2 as it is at A1. There's no interaction. Okay. Okay. So this, in fact, is what I was doing here. What I've been doing is really just breaking all the scores down into their constituent parts from this model. And in essence, that's what the math does. What were the scores for B again? It was -3 and +3. Is that correct? I think so, right? So if I was to actually calculate the sum of squares for B, it's 18. It's 9 and 9. 3 squared and 3 squared. 3 squared for -3 squared. And the sum of squares for A was 1 and 1, right? So the sum of squares for A is 2. And the sum of squares for interaction will be 0. This is idealized. It's never going to be 0. Because they're just square deviations from 0. Why not from the mean? Well, because I removed the mean. It's gone. Feels to me like time for another one. I don't know, again, I don't know what the dependent variable is, I don't know what A is and what B is. I am out of creativity. I was never that creative a person to begin with. My sister's an artist, an advertising artist. My brother is a record producer, a musician. I'm a scientist. They're both really good looking and I'm me too, so it's... The thing is, I had this air of authority around everybody because I went to school for so long. And because I lecture people for a living, I can actually just say shit and people believe me. And I know all kinds of stupid trivia. One day though, my brother did look up and say, you know, have we ever entertained the possibility that Dave's been making this shit up since like the early 70s? Okay. Whatever. Let's get the grand mean. 20 minus 10 minus or plus 2, so that's going to be 3. It's 12 divided by 4 is 3. That's the grand mean. So we're going to take 3 out of each sum. And I know most of you guys have the things printed out in front of you, but you should be able to figure out it's going to be 17, -3, -7, -1. Right? Oh, -13, so take it at 3, not -3. Okay. There's our grand mean is gone. Where did it go? It's been removed. It ran away to a farm where it can run around with other grand means. It's not dead, Johnny. I really need this break. I really need it. The A effect is 2 for A1 and -2 for A2. You can see that because we sum it to 4, and -4 was divided by 2. Okay. Notice again, it still keeps summing to 0 all the time because we've removed the average. When you do one of these on a quiz, which you will, I think, well, I guess now that I said it, you probably will. Or if you do one of these on a test, which you will, that I can guarantee. You can always check every single step of the way, is it always summing to 0? Because if it isn't, you've made a dumb arithmetic error. That's all it's ever going to be. It's a silly arithmetic error. That's all it is. They can't not sum to 0. We've removed the mean. And we keep removing things that sum to 0. So it always has to sum to 0. It must. It can't not sum to 0. It is impossible. The only way it can't sum to 0 is if you made an arithmetic error. What we're doing definitionally is that it's always going to sum to 0.
Wouldn't the effect be 4 and -4?
No, because we divide by 2.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And that's another mistake. In fact, that's often where people make a mistake when they're starting to break down these tables. They take 4 and -4 out, and then suddenly it doesn't sum to 0. That's why every step of the way you can go, does that just sum to 0? Oh, it doesn't. Oh, what did I do? Oh, shit. Not 4. 2 and -2. I mean, that's the way I do it, because everything involves profanity. Right? Just do something right or wrong. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. It's like the way. I am toned down so much when I'm in class, too, by the way, compared to the way I actually talk. Most of you guys haven't been here when both Paul and I have been here. Now, Paul's on sabbatical. We hurl insults at each other that involve horrible words across the hall. Students don't know what to make of us. Many of our colleagues don't know what to make of us. It's good. Keeps people on their toes. One day someone's going to be offended. It'll be an investigation. I don't know. Okay, questions? See it? Right, and then when I take 2 out and -2 out. Well, let's do that then. Oh, look, it still sums to 0. See, this is, again, you can always just say to yourself, sum to 0, yes. I'm doing okay. So notice how the cells sum to 0. These are the ones that we've taken out A1 and A2. They are also negative sum to 0. The whole thing sums to 0. Now, the B's might not sum to 0 because it's probably an effect. In fact, as you can see, it's 14 and -14, or then 7 and -7, right? Because we divide by 2. Okay. Questions?
So the B effect is 7 and -7?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's fine. Look, if you didn't read that there, I don't care. You're getting it. That's the important thing. So why don't we take that out? We'll take the 7 and the -7 out. Oh, I think there's going to be some leftover stuff. We have an interaction. 8, -8, -8, 8. So we actually have one this time. They're non-zero. That's very cool. The effects sum to 0 in every possible way. Across, down, and all together. And that's how it must work. They don't have to do it diagonally. Okay? It's not bottle. That's a shit game, that bottle. You ever played bottle?
I love
I hate it. See, I think it might be. I find typically, like, my wife loves it and is way better at it than I am, which is probably why I don't like it. Yeah, I think I just don't like games I'm not very good at. I don't have the patience for bottle. I blame it all on my vision. I was, I can't see, right? Of course, she could always retort, you realize I didn't speak English till I was 18, right? But she doesn't because she's classier than I am. And I fear smarter. But Scrabble I'll play. But Boggle, it's just like you gotta look, you're looking at it quietly writing. Like, what the hell kind of fun is that? If there was bets involved or something partway through, or you could harass the other person as you play. But you can't bet Sky. You can't do that. Yeah, Yahtzee. I'll play some Yahtzee. I like playing Monopoly, but no one likes playing Monopoly with me. Because I'm really mean. But I'm doing it just because it's fun. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. My mom, on the other hand, you play Monopoly with my mom and she helps everybody. Oh, were you out of money? Well, here's some money. I said, Mom, it's called Monopoly, not socialism. Just play the game. It's very nice that you want to help the poor, but it's a game. It'll go on forever if you keep being the bank. Well, you're not being very nice, David. So no one plays Monopoly with me. All right. Sums to 0 in every possible way. If we just zeros, we had no interaction. And if we graph this, you can see that, holy Christmas, we were having an interaction. Holy crossing lines, Batman. See, it's funny, you get that reference, which is from a TV show from the 1960s. The old cheesy Batman. It's classic. You ever watch, anybody here ever watch the old Batman show, the original? No? Oh, it's hilarious. Hey, it's meant to be funny, by the way. What's this? Are heroes trapped by the Joker? All right. Yeah, the effect of, let's see, B certainly changes depending upon the level of A. It actually flips, the order flips even. It's not just that it's bigger or smaller, it literally, the launch class, the order flips. Right? If you looked at this, would you feel comfortable discussing the effect of the variable B without mentioning the level of A? Would you be able to do that? Yeah, I wouldn't either. You know what? If you look at our example, there's an effect of A and an effect of B in an interaction. So statistically, you probably have an effect of A. You really do on its own have an effect of A, but can you interpret it that way? I wouldn't feel comfortable at all doing this. Right? So, when you're interpreting there's main effects and interactions. So the main effect is the effect of A, effect of B, and interactions are A, B in this case. Interpreting main effects in the presence of interaction is hard. Some people say you should never interpret a main effect when there's an interaction. And I'm somewhat sympathetic to that notion. I see what they mean, because they're saying, look, you're saying A1 is bigger than A2, but it's not as much bigger at B2 than it is at B1. So you're kind of tying yourself in knots. Yeah, but I can still confidently say it's always bigger than A1's always bigger than A2 or something. Right? So that's a judgment call. Interpreting a main effect in the presence of interaction. So when you have what's called an ordinal interaction, and that's when the order of the main effects is preserved. In other words, draw one. Here's some space here. So we have an ordinal interaction here. So those aren't parallel. So you see that we got a bigger difference at B. We can make that more intense. Okay. So we have a bigger difference here at A1 than we have at A2. But I'd still be confident if I was writing a paper saying that B1 is bigger than B2. I wouldn't feel bad saying it. I wouldn't feel like I was lying. I would also be perfectly happy saying that A2 on average is bigger than A1. Doesn't matter where you are at B, because the data show me that. That's called an ordinal interaction, where the order of the main effects is preserved. So that's okay. And not again, that's my personal preference. Some people will tell you don't do that. And they're also, that's fine to say. Like, they're just different schools of thought. I kind of look at what kind of question am I asking, how big is this interaction I'm having. Disordered interaction, it's actually probably impossible to do. So if we've got a disordered interaction, so we've got A1 here, here. Like that. I have main effects. I at least have a main effect of A there because it looks like A2 is way smaller than A1. But I can't tell you anything about the order. I can't. So it's going to be hard to do. So I'm not going to interpret that, the main effects there. I'm going to talk about the interaction on its own. Then again, theoretically, sometimes you might think it's fine to do, and then, because there's other stuff behind you, you do it. But it's hard to do with a disordered interaction. It's because you usually have to sort of tie yourself in verbal knots. And the test to me is always, practically, can I tell somebody about this effect without mentioning the other variable? Is it something I can do? Or does it work like, verb tenses in French? Well, that's the past, except on Thursdays we use a completely different tense. Or if it's night, then everything changes as well. It feels that way anyway sometimes. I've mastered the present tense. So I can tell stories about my childhood, and say, when I can do was, that's easy. Quand j'étais 2 ans, je fais, when I was 2 years old, I do this. And we understand. It's because my in-laws are too nice to correct me. Oh, isn't it nice that he tries? Isabel will correct me because she teaches French. And then I get, oh, come on. Don't do that. You're mean, which isn't fair because I'm an idiot. Every day it's the same thing. She's still here. Can't believe it. I mean that me being lucky, but or having the patience of some sort of thing that has a lot of patience. It's got a lot of patience. Job, here you go. There's a Bible angle. I don't read the Bible lots, but I've read it. All right. You have questions about this? Does this make sense, this thing about interpreting interactions? Because, like I said, if you can do it, if you actually can talk about a main effect in the presence of interaction and do it honestly, I have a problem with it. But sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes it's just impossible. And in that case, I just say, fine, I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. Any questions? Because we're going to stop early today for 2 reasons. This is lots of stuff, and it's new, and it's almost the break. And this is my break starts really shortly. There's no meetings for me on Friday. I like that. So you guys good? All right, see you next time. Okay. So last time we were talking about this, so the idea of interpreting interactions. You have to be careful when you're interpreting main effects in the presence of interactions because, well, like I was saying, those of you watching the video realize it's now a week and a half later. But I did just say in the video that can you talk about the effect of A without mentioning B? If you can do that, which sometimes you can, that's okay. That's called an ordinal interaction. That's when the order of the main effects is preserved. But you get a disordinal interaction. That's when the order of the main effects is not preserved. Basically, the lines cross on a graph. It's almost impossible. Almost impossible. Some people say never talk about main effects in the presence of interactions. I think those people are taking things a bit far. But it's a matter of taste more than anything. If you can do it, then do it. Like if you feel comfortable doing it. Okay, so we got to split up, just like we did with the one-way analysis of variance. We've got a partition of degrees of freedom and the sums of squares. So remember our model: x equals mu plus alpha plus beta plus epsilon, right? That's main effect, interaction, error, and then of course grand mean, which applies to everybody. The sum of squares total are going to be the sum of squares A plus sum of squares B plus sum of squares AB, which is a new one. It's the only new thing we got here. Plus the sum of squares error. Okay. That's our new thing. Is the AB, the interaction. Okay, so think of it this way, in that sum of squares for A is the same as just the treatment effect. Same as sum of squares treatment, except it's just for the A effect. So it's the effect of A ignoring the effect of B. Square deviation of the column means, if you want to put it A in columns and B in rows. So the column means from the grand mean. Sum of squares B is the square deviations of the row means from the grand mean. Again, that's if you put D in rows. You don't have to do it that way, but whatever. So like if you had just a simple like 2 by 2, so we got A1, whoops, A2, B1, B2, and let's say we got so A1, B1, 6, A1, A2, sorry, A2, B1, 8, A1, B2, 10, A2, B2 is 12. So column means here are what? 8 and 22, so 10 rather, and then here it's going to be 7 and 11. So there's your row means and your column means. That's all that means. Okay? Assuming you did it yourself, like you did it by hand, which you wouldn't do. I'll show you later today how to do it on SPSS, and that's why, in fact, all that stuff was written on the board that someone so nicely came in and erased for no apparent reason. Oh, I'm a superhero. I go around to empty classrooms and erase things that profs already put on boards for classes that are coming. There's no why else ever did it. It's just weird. Like it's not like, okay, I get it when, like, for example, when I go into my office and I see, oh look, the cleaning guy vacuumed. Well, that's his job. That's cool. I'm glad someone does that. Hey, look, my garbage bag empty. I get it was a cleaning person doing that because they don't. I don't know. We'll find out one day. I'm going to start putting cameras in every room. Okay. Enough of that. This is the weird one. Sum of squares AB. These are the square deviations of cell means from what we would expect given the row means. Okay. Using our example that I threw up here, we would expect, what would we expect the mean to be for A1, B1 given what we know what the row mean and the column mean? Well, the row for B1 here is 7, and for A1 is 8. We would expect 7.5, wouldn't we? See that? But it's not. So that deviation is squared. Okay? So it's not, we would expect 7.5 here, but no, in fact it's 6. So that is a square, we would square the deviation, well, we would, or SPSS would, the square deviation, I'm sorry, of 7.5 to 6, so 1.5 squared. And then you do that for all of these. Okay. Make sense? So that's so hard, right? Sum of squares error, that is square deviations of individual scores from their cell means. Each of these individual cell means, as they're called, are made up of a bunch of scores. So we would get like individual scores, so it's the sum of those individual scores from those cell means. That's the same as it always is. Be a bad way to stop, just restart the term if I fell over and killed myself. Okay. Questions so far? Not so bad, right? So if we want to get precise about this, it actually looks like that. That's in the book. But actually, all that is a math way of saying out all those things I just said. That's all that is. It's nothing to be scared of. And you're not going to have to do this by hand anyway, so don't worry. You can if you want to. Out of your freaking mind. I wouldn't do it one way and do it by hand. It's insane. You can do it with Excel. You can do it with Google spreadsheets, for Christ's sakes. You can, there are calculators online that say ANOVA, and you just use Google, and then you do them. Like there's all kinds of tools out there. So you never do this by hand. But that's sum of squares total. That's AB or BA, doesn't make a difference really. AB, and there's the error. So it's going to have n minus 1 degrees of freedom, big N minus 1, because, yeah, look at how many things you fixed. You fixed one thing, the grand mean. Now, this has there are A levels of A, minus 1 degrees of freedom, because you fixed one thing, the grand mean. You're saying, wait, but those are column means. They don't know that. The numbers don't know where they came from. So to calculate, so that's 8 and 10 from whatever the grand mean would be, which would be 18. Yeah, so it's 30, what am I saying? So you just, you would subtract these values from the grand mean. That's where you don't know, like I said, they don't know their means. And you could calculate the grand mean from those columns, you get the average of those numbers. Same thing here. Except it's for B. Number of levels of B minus 1. This one has the interaction has A minus 1 times B minus 1 degrees of freedom. So in the case of a 2 by 2, we have 1 degree of freedom, 1 degree of freedom, 1 degree of freedom. However, let's say we have a 3 by 3. Now we have 2, 2, and 4. So let's say, well, let's do that. And to top it off, our mystery eraser hid it behind that. There you go. That's great. All right. So let's say we have a 3 by 3. So we got A1, A2. I guess I could just put the third one on there, but still. Let's make up interaction effects. Ooh, that sounds fun. Okay. So, just give me a number, doesn't matter. 2. Where do you want to put it?
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle. You see, I think we're playing tic-tac-toe, don't you? 2. So plus 2. Give me another one. 7. We're going to put that one. A1, B1. That one back there. I think you're itching for it. What do you just say?
76.
76. Where are we going to put that?
Bottom left.
Bottom left. 76. Okay, we got one more. Who wants to give me one more? Fine, I'll do one. Minus 2, and I'll put it here. Now, that's done. Plus 2 mo, that's going to be 0. Right, because they have to sum to 0 on the columns, on the rows, right? In the rows. Oh, and that's got to be negative 7. Okay. Oh, this is now fixed. So that's going to be negative 7, 6, 13, 83. It's got to be. Right? Oh, that fixes this one, so that's got to be positive 81. Which fixes this one. 174, negative 74. Oh, done. I had 4 degrees of freedom. I was able to put 4 of them in randomly, and the rest of them were freely. The rest of them, they just fell into place. I have 9 cells, right? 3 by 3. A minus 1 is 2. B minus 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Right? Okay? Just the way the world works. That's not, and as you saw, I mean, I had you give me the numbers except for that last one. So it's not like I fixed this in any way. For my next trick, okay, degrees of freedom for error. Within each cell, you've got little n minus 1 observations. Sorry, little n observations. So you have, to calculate a variance, you've got n minus 1 degrees of freedom, and you have A times B cells. So it's A times B times little n minus 1. Okay? That's going to give us mean square for A, mean square for B, mean square interaction, mean square for error. With the expected values of these things. Well, remember the expected value in the simple ANOVA, the expected value of mean squared treatment is epsilon. Well, it's not really, that's a shorthand I use, but we'll just say that, epsilon plus tau. And mean squared error is error, epsilon. So we just divide mean squared treatment by mean squared error, we get we have an effect. That's what we did before the break, yeah? In the one-way ANOVA thing. We'll have to do the same thing for mean squared A, mean squared B, and mean squared AB. And mean squared error. So, here it goes exactly as you'd expect. Expected value of mean squared A is alpha plus epsilon. The expected value of mean squared B is beta plus epsilon. The expected value of mean squared AB is alpha beta plus epsilon. And the expected value of mean squared error is epsilon. And of course, yeah, it's actually all variances due to, but there may actually be typos in the notes that I fixed. So this is right. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide mean squared A divided by mean squared error. We're going to divide mean squared B by mean squared error, and mean squared AB by mean squared error. We're going to get three F ratios. To find out if we have a significant A effect, a significant B effect, and a significant or a significant AB interaction. We did it all once. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Do that. No, why? What to? Questions? Good. Excellent. Those expected values are only true, don't you hate when there's a however, are only true if you're interested in those particular values of A and B and no others. You don't want to make any predictions about, A's got 1 and 2 levels. You don't want, there's no third level you could think of that you care about. So let's say one of them is retention interval. We had that's how I opened this whole thing up. 5 minutes, 1 hour, 24 hours. You're not interested in 7 minutes. Do not draw a line graph. That's what that means. Do you really want to make that interpretation? That's annoying. You're always taught that, well, you're never taught this. Well, until this course comes along. It's called a fixed effects model. You're only interested in those effects, those levels of A, those levels of B, and no others. And when you think about it, that's an exceedingly rare thing. It's an exceedingly rare thing. What if we randomly chose the levels out of some sort of hat? Perhaps a jaunty beret or a top hat. A jaunty beret. So that adds a new level of randomness into it. Hey, randomness, math, we can model that. That's not going to be a problem. It changes things. And that seems really weird that it changes the expected values of the mean squares, but it does. So you understand what I'm saying? We're not going to, instead of saying 5 minutes, 1 hour, 24 hours, we put in all possible values of retention interval into some computer program, and we randomly chose 3 levels. So we got 7 minutes, 8 hours, 46 minutes, and 300 years. That wouldn't work. Okay, and we got a week and a half. I know. Sounds kind of impractical, but that would be what you do. In that case, we get a random effects model, and everything changes. The expected value of mean squared A is alpha plus alpha beta plus epsilon. I'm not going to go into why. This is one of those Pope Dave in your Catholic moments, okay? Just take it as I'm infallible. Take it, well, the reason that it changes is because we can model that random, so we can put that into the math that's behind this. We think of it that way. Expected value of mean squared B is beta plus alpha beta plus epsilon. So we're going to need to find something that has alpha, beta, and epsilon in it to isolate the beta or the alpha. Oh, good. Mean squared AB is like that. Ah, thank you. Mean squared error is exactly the same. That's nice. So what we're going to do now, if we have a random effects model, is we're going to divide mean squared A by the interaction, and mean squared B by the interaction. That's our new error term. And then we're going to divide mean squared AB by mean squared error, so that doesn't change. It just changes what you divide by in analysis of variance. The error term is what you divide by in your analysis of variance. Huh. It's kind of neat. And in fact, the software, and I'll show you later on SPSS, is that it allows you to do that. You just say, oh, these are fixed factors or random factors, and it does it automatically. Yay. That's a good thing. That should please you. Then at least you don't have to remember the expected values of mean squares. What you can do is just tell the software that these are random or these are fixed. The software will always assume that everything is fixed. All right. Well, that's fine. You might wonder, when would you actually really truly use random effects? A lot of times industrial sort of field tests, things like that. Would you want to have, let's say you have, an example I have to use is like tire wear. You've got winter tires. And you got, 5 cities. You might randomly choose different cities. Right? But you want to apply to all cities. So you put all the cities in Canada in a hat and you randomly choose them, and then you choose people to test your tires. Okay. Doesn't usually happen in the kind of work we do. Except in one very special case that we will eventually get to. Where's my pointer down here? All right. Questions so far? What about a mixed model? So A is fixed and B is random. A is fixed, B is random. If A is fixed and B is random, the expected value of mean squared A is alpha plus alpha beta plus epsilon. Expected value of mean squared B is beta plus epsilon. Mean squared AB is A alpha beta plus epsilon. And mean squared error is epsilon, and that's not a typo. That's actually, I know it's counterintuitive, it seems as backwards, it's right. Saying A is fixed, why doesn't it go back to the way it is in the fixed? Because it isn't. It just isn't, okay? Just believe me. I have no reason to lie to you. I don't gain anything if you know when things are wrong. I know it's weird. It's counterintuitive, but it's correct. Okay. So in that case, what we're going to divide by changes. Again, the software would know this. So as long as you tell it which is fixed and which is random, you're fine. So question so far, though, this is called a mixed model. We have one fixed effect and one random effect. You okay? So in that case, we're assuming with a random effects model that the levels of the random factor are randomly selected and independent of each other. That's something a weird assumption we're making. It doesn't happen that often. Because at first you think this is a very stringent assumption, this fixed effects model thing, and we're always interested in other levels. Why would we ever use a fixed effects model? Well, the random effects model, the reason the math changes is because we take account of that randomness. If you didn't actually randomly choose your levels, the closest approximation is fixed effects. What we're doing is a random effects mixed sort of model, which the thing is, the math depends, if it's a random effects model, the math depends on it being, you actually having randomly chosen the levels. Okay? It really depends on that. So the question you have to ask yourself is, did I randomly choose the levels? If you randomly chose the levels, which sometimes you have, that's fine. But usually we haven't in the kind of work that we all do. Right? It comes up. And as I said, probably not today, maybe today, we'll get to a special case, in fact, where we do use a random effect. One. So questions so far? Again, no questions? You good? You sure? You sure? You're either a very smart group or you have no idea what I'm talking about. I choose to believe the former. Because the latter also has the implication that I'm a shitty teacher. So I'm just going to dismiss that information.
So Dave,
Yes, thank you. Questions? Other questions?
when we do the mixed model,
Yeah.
what then do we divide
Oh, right.
the MSA by and
Yeah.
all that stuff?
So if you have A fixed and B random, which is what I think I had in the
Yeah.
example. If I have A fixed and B random, let's look at it. Yeah, I didn't say that. So for A, the expected value is alpha plus alpha beta plus epsilon. For B, it's just beta plus epsilon. For A, it's just, what is it there? It's alpha beta plus epsilon, and for error, it's just epsilon. Okay, there you go. What would you divide mean squared A by to isolate the A?
By AB.
Yeah. So you would divide mean squared A by mean squared AB, but you would divide mean squared B by mean squared error. And you divide mean squared AB by mean squared error. Yeah. It's one of these cases, too, the stuff with randomly fixed models, is that sometimes you're gonna, or sorry, there was a time, rather, that we had to, if you were doing these things by hand or the software wasn't sophisticated enough to say something was a random factor or a fixed factor, you would actually have to work out to derive the expected values of the mean squares, which is not easy. Pretty advanced stats books, graduate level stats books, tend to have in the back tables of how to derive expected values of mean squares. It's an evil, horrible thing to do. You don't really have to do that typically anymore. I'm showing you this for a reason that will become apparent at some point, I hope. But typically, we don't have to worry too much about it anymore. We just have to make sure we know we have a fixed factor or a random factor. Yeah, good question. Other questions? Thank you. Excellent. Yeah, because I skipped over that. Thank you. Okay, so what we get is an analysis variance summary table that looks a little something like this. We have source of variation, A, B, error, and total. We've got degrees of freedom, A minus 1, B minus 1, A minus 1 times B minus 1, and AB times little n minus 1, and big N minus 1. And then our mean squares are just the sum of squares divided by the requisite degrees of freedom. And then our F values are those, but only if it's a fixed effects model. You can assume that you have a fixed effects model unless someone tells you otherwise. In a journal article, you can assume they're using fixed effects models unless someone tells you otherwise in the paper. They will tell you that they have random effects if they really truly do have them. Okay. Because the fact is that these expected values of mean squares change because we put the randomly choosing the levels into the math. If we didn't really randomly choose or kind of randomly even choose the levels, we can't put that into the math. Okay? Phone vibrated. Just want to make sure it wasn't something important. Believe me, there are many things more important than teaching. Kid's home sick. Yeah, yesterday my 15-year-old son, he's got autism, right? So sometimes he's got to be a little bit. So he texted me yesterday just before class. Dad, I didn't put the soup mix in at the right time. I said, well, first of all, who said you could make soup? Now he uses the oven all the time. That's not a problem, because it's heat up chicken strips. You can teach a monkey to do that. That's not a problem. And he likes food enough that he would just stand there waiting. And he makes himself bacon and stuff in the morning, so I really shouldn't have worried that he's never done this before. So he's got the pot, and I took a picture of what you're doing and sent it to me. So he took a picture and he sent it to me. He said, it's not bubbling. What do I do? And we got on FaceTime, and I said, oh, just turn the stove up. Then he sent me the picture. Now it's bubbling a lot. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to boil over. I said, turn it down and take it off the heat. It all worked out fine. But I'm afraid now he's decided he's going to roast a chicken or something. So I'm just making sure that he's not doing that, because he would. He's actually pretty okay in the kitchen, and they learned that stuff in school. There was that foods class. We didn't have, well, I guess we did, but it was called home ec and only girls took it. It's 1979 when I started high school. Remember that? It's like Mad Men. Actually, it wasn't all like it was 20 years later. Nonetheless! So I was just concerned that he was doing something weird. I was using one of your good knives, and I've chopped off one of my fingers. Something like that. All right. Questions about that? This is exactly as before. We've just added a new line here, which is AB. As I said, always assume it's fixed effects unless someone tells you otherwise.
Do you only get an F value from fixed effects model?
No, you would get them. So if this was, in this case, let's say this was a random effects model, not a fixed effects one. We go mean squared A divided by mean squared AB.
Oh, okay. So
And then we just look that up. The F would have A minus 1 and A minus 1 times B minus 1 degrees of freedom for the critical value. We'd look that up and see if we exceeded it. That's all it is. It's done exactly the same way. It's just that what you're dividing by changes. Yeah, or as I said, your error term, as it's called. All right, good questions. Other questions? Okay. See, the thing is, these things can get big. What if we added a third factor? C. Why not? Sure. Rotation interval, A1, A2. Stimulus type, B1, B2. Species, C1, C2. He said, describing his PhD work. This is a 2x2x2, so now we're looking at a three-way sort of interaction situation. Is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. This is group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5, group 6, group 7, group 8. Remember, G isn't a factor. G is just telling you where the groups of people are. So, or whatever, in my case it was birds, would be, these are different subjects in different groups. We have 8 cells, different subjects in each cell. Okay? Questions? So that's not horribly complicated. It's bigger. So now what we have is we have 3 main effects, A, B, and C. We have 3 two-way interactions, A, B, A, C, and B, C. And we have a 3-way interaction, A, B, C. The 3-way interaction is the 2-way interactions change depending upon some level of a third variable. And again, I think the work that I've done with comparative psychology work that I've done, actually comparing species, literally it was all about 3-way interactions, because you get one pattern of data in one species and one pattern in another species. That's all it was about. Or if you want to think sex difference work, stuff like that. Right? So it's just the 2-way interaction changes depending upon the level of some third variable. A 9-way interaction is the 8-way interactions change depending upon some level of a 9th variable. A 738-way interaction is the 737-way interactions change depending upon some level of a 738th variable. There's a pattern there. Nobody does 9-way interactions though. has 738 interactions. It's time to simplify if you're doing that. That's the kind of person who just writes stuff all over their wall all the time and has photos with string attaching them to each thing. You know, like they're kind of nuts. They think they're solving crimes. You ever see that on crime shows, right? Doesn't matter how many computers they have. At some point, there's a big bulletin board that just has photos with thread attaching them, because that's how crimes are solved. Most of your crimes are solved that way, with thread. It's been a while, okay? A little rusty. After we bring the in material. All right. Model changes, of course, because we got to bring in this third variable. X equals mu plus alpha plus beta plus alpha plus beta plus gamma plus alpha beta plus alpha gamma plus alpha beta gamma plus epsilon. That's a gamma. A, B, C, A, B, A, C, B, C, A, C, A, B, C, E. You're just putting all the sources of variation you can think of in the model, that's all. Nothing magical. Questions? Okay. So, this is a three-way interaction. Here's an example of a three-way interaction. Look at this. The two-way interactions change. See, there are two-way interactions here. Look, B2 is smaller than B1, generally, but A1 is smaller than A2, let's do it that way. But the gap is bigger at B2 than it is at B1. That's an interaction. But we have an ordinal interaction, at least here. Over here at C2, we have a disordinal interaction. It actually flips over. The two-way interactions change depending upon the level of some third variable, in this case, C. Okay? It's a very, and you look at that now and you go, oh, I can see how we could have an experiment like that. That wouldn't be horribly complicated. This could be two different, like, the two levels of A can be two different kinds of memory tests, right? And B could be two retention intervals, short and long, I'm going to call it that. And C could be two different teaching styles or something. Presentation styles, right? So one is like rote memory, and the other one is, I don't know, something else. I'm really not very creative. Or it could be two different groups of people. This could be, this could be a group of psychology students, and this could be a group of biology students. I don't know. Whatever. Sure. We have two different kinds of stimuli, and then we have two different attention levels. Yeah, sure. Whatever. So you can see that wouldn't be a ridiculous thing to try to interpret. You could look at that, especially if you've designed the experiment, you could look at that and say, oh, yeah, I get that. I understand. Okay. Okay, let's think about these kind of designs a little bit. Sum it up, and then I'm going to show you some other stuff, and we'll play with SPSS a little bit. One of the things here is we can study interactions. That's good. Many of our theories we have in psychology have interactions in them. You think about something like, some of you guys are in my memory class, you think about implicit and explicit memory and retention interval. So you got retention interval, short to along. You've got implicit memory, which doesn't really decay, and explicit memory, which does. Oh, look, an interaction. I mean, theories in behavioral sciences, in life sciences generally, often have interactions in them. Very common. Very common. So being able to actually isolate the interaction is an important thing. And once you've done it a few times, it's actually not that hard to interpret. Right? It really isn't. I mean, you set up, I mean, you think about this idea here, that's not uncommon, that kind of design. Yeah, no big deal. Okay, then there's a downside, obviously. You have fixed effects, random effects, or mixed effects. And that really is a good question. We typically are doing something that we kind of interpret like a like a random effects model. We say, well, I just drew lines here connecting these two things. So I'm making the assumption that all these levels in the middle that I have to test that actually look like that, and really I didn't do that. But did we choose them randomly? That's the question you have to ask yourself. If you didn't choose your levels randomly, don't worry. That's what I would say. These things can get very big very fast. So for example, let's say we had something like four. Now, A, B, C, D. So suddenly now we have an effective A, an effective B, an A-B interaction, effective C, effective C by A interaction, C by B interaction, a C by A by B interaction, effective D, D by A, D by B, D by A by B, D by C, D by C by A, D by C by B, and A, B, C, D. X equals mu plus alpha plus beta plus alpha beta plus gamma alpha plus gamma beta plus alpha beta gamma plus delta alpha plus delta beta plus delta alpha beta plus delta gamma alpha plus delta gamma beta plus alpha beta delta gamma plus epsilon. Look at all the F tests you have to do. It's a nightmarish hell. Now, people typically don't design experiments that look like this. Four-way interactions are hard to interpret. And if we add on another factor, now suddenly this thing gets twice as big again. Wow. Right? Twice plus one. Wow. Right? So you don't want to do that. So they can get very big, and it's tempting. It's very tempting when you're designing something to go, well, so put another factor in. There's another independent variable. Stop. I typically, for example, for honors thesis projects with me, I don't let people use more than 2 independent variables. Because you're going to have trouble interpreting a 3-way, depending. Some students find, I would never let someone have a 4-way interaction because I'd say to them, how are you going to interpret that? You can't. So don't. Hold other things constant. Right? Okay. Questions?